Hello and welcome. As of the recording of the video, which is 12:58 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is the 13th day of February 2021. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel, where, like always, all bets, trades, and amongst the like within each's own risk and their own reward. Silver. These numbers are like exactly the same almost. 27.31 and 4.2 and 27.33, basically a third, or a 1.6 cent differential amongst the two prices. So it's about the same. The price action for silver, a few days of showing strength below, not amongst, pretty much below the 18 average of highs. Yeah, maybe a little bit above it here on the 8th and 9th, but yeah. I like how it's been correcting within this move, and it's extremely likely that I'm probably hours away from ordering more physical, keyword physical, of course, silver. I think the probabilities that this breaks at, we retested this previous high from back in here, and then this whole, like I mentioned, just showing strength at the 18 highs is very, very amazing. This support was where previous resistance was held. And then this support here, you can see that the resistance amongst these three periods has been the support amongst the previous last 3 or 4. So that in itself, to me, is a very bullish situation. But I'm not going to be behind much, though. It's just more along the way of balancing not enough. What's balancing not enough mean? Well, that is turning cryptocurrencies into that of physical silver. And I believe cryptocurrencies are going to go sky high fly. So in the near term, that I think I can get much better silver packages, if you will, and come warmer weather, April, May, June, July, August, November, early 2022, so on and so forth. I think they're both going to end up going higher. It's just what's the rate of ascent for the cryptocurrency is going to be versus that of physical silver. We'll switch it up to the monthly, and not just some whatever mathematics and anomalies or just actualities or how it is, what situational knowledge. If we take the money supply that has been created over the last 12 months by the United States Federal Reserve, and then divide that by the amount of ounces of silver that have been mined in the same time frame, we'll say 12 months. What would that number equate to? The answer is less than 5,000, like about 4,800, according to usdebtclock.org. Well over 30,000 if you do that with gold. And the ratio difference is about like 9 or so to 1. For how much gold and silver, like there's but 9 times more silver mined than gold right now. And just some whatever mathematical answers that I've came up with that just is like might mean something for people. But for oil, if we take the currency divided by the amount of oil that's produced, get like over 100 barrels, which is close to what the price is. I as far as like $4,800 silver, well, we can $28. 27 really at a third. No, not close. Oh yeah, back in like 1913, which I have data for in here, which is this little star. That's where the price was. If you were to take the currency where the star was, and then of the last 12 months beforehand, and then divided by the amount of silver that was mined and created in the last 12 months as well, your answer would have been about 2, which is like a little over 2, like 2 and change, somewhere up here. And never managed. It can't close in that area, but right now it's not close though. So that's silver. And now we got Bitcoin. I've already made a case for why this can go to 111,000. So I'm not going to go over the mathematics to what would be the triple upside target level if it's managing to able to do so, with the last one being around 38,000. If it does it, it does it. But what a phenomenal run Bitcoin has went through. It has exceeded the all-time highs that it last established at the end of 2017, and it has done so by going from 20,000 to like, right now it's at 46. So about 120% higher, 2.2x. I went over this before, but 1,100 up to like 20,000 was like 18 times. Early in the buying situation, I think in one way of putting it together, though the earlier the people are, the better those players, if you want to call them that, are going to be in the game. I managed to arrive in the crypto game as it was roughly around this little range in here. At under 1,000 is my last buy. Last time I bought Bitcoin for fiat currency was a long time. And there's never ever been a reason for me to do so because, well, my portfolio of cryptocurrencies just rises, so it's just never a need to. If I got cash, I can buy other things like silver. But it would have been down at this bottom day here, like March 25th or something around here in these days, as it was breaking down. Where'd I buy it at a gas station? Of course. Turned digital cash, although it might have been paper rectangles at the time. I cannot remember. Because I did it like a bunch of times in here. This was just the last time I did it was around that low. And then, of course, there were people who bought way back when and cheaper than that. And you know, there was a time frame even before I even had all these charts going back in here when I remember the price was like, yeah, it was in this area. It was 2011. It was before the silver top. I might have heard of Da Vinci, and I was considering, I don't know what his answer would have been, but knowing at the time, I think I would have gotten a deal done. I was considering offering him, I got 10 ounces of silver. Will you send me some Bitcoin if I mail you some silver? Of course, he might have said 5 ounces or 2 ounces, but that would have been fantastic as well. And of course, I wouldn't have cared which 10 ounces he would have bought off me if he would have wanted the bars or this round or this coin or whatnot. And then the same thing is going to be the case for those who got in at 6,000 and 8,000 and 16,000. There's a lot of people in the early stages that are starting to see gains that they've never experienced before. Some are experiencing them again. Some people are seeing their portfolio back to levels where they've seen some gone back higher beforehand. And some people have managed to profit take, have their portfolios back to where it is or pretty much where it is, and they profit take in this and this, or they profit took a lot and they still got a very healthy portfolio compared to the high. Everybody's in different positions. And then when you get in, if you highly believe that this thing is going to keep going to 6 figures, is it too late to buy? And then, of course, again, you're not always going to get as fantastic gains, but you got to look at your position that you're going to be in. What are you looking to thrive? What's the situation you're looking to do? Are you looking to do cryptocurrencies as like a hedge or like insurance? Of course, stuff like car insurance and your house insurance, you're pretty much forced to buy. You're not forced to buy monetary insurance, but you can. And this is, of course, one method. You can strategically figure how do I go about doing it. And that's just one mathematical way of looking at it. What can I risk that I can afford to lose? And if you're just putting an X amount per week, is there any reason to stop doing so, or questions you might need to ask yourself? Maybe it's a time where I stop investing into it, wait for pullbacks, but I want to also wait for times for distribution as well. So I don't want to be neither nor that of accumulation or distribution now. There's going to be a lot of people that are still in accumulation mode. And you're getting all of these getting out of the dollar situations coming into play. And as it goes, we've had this situation. It's kind of barely broken this level of resistance on the short term, just from this high to this low. And when we look at it from before, you wait from a break of resistance. I know that's not a straight line, but in here, this is the early stages of getting through. And remember, when you look at it just from this, the upper end of this very early stages, albeit at that, is like 2,300 when the market was just barely doubling. So here you got it like 3,500 and it's almost tripled. Well, almost tripling here would be almost 60,000. And again, I'm not saying it's going to make the same move because it could make it equal. It could be worse. It could even be better than like an 18x move from 20,000, of course. But then you get to the stage where it's like a pretty okay buy. Okay, you're starting to buy pretty high. Because at this, if you buy here, you're just seeing it come back to where you came from. And then you're buying near the tops. But think of all the people here who bought Bitcoin at this high. and just held it in their wallet, and they're still holding it in their wallet today. If they bought it at like 18,000, they're much better than double. And then those who bought it like did the same thing at like on the way up at like 10,000 and 12,000. Oh, they're quadruple and 4x. Of course, everybody's in different positions and different financial situations, of course. And a lot of people in the crypto game, there's going to be new crypto millionaires, multi-millionaires, and maybe the odd crypto billionaire here and there that are going to be added in the next little while, probably because of, well, price action and what people do to ensure that they're in, of course, the best financial situation that they can be in. But the getting out of the dollar situation, Tesla with the big buy, and Tesla's not that large of a company when you compare it to some of the other ones out there. Just keep that in mind as well, that it just takes one big spot. And even for silver, it just takes one person to pretty much, or one big company to buy the entire market up pretty much in one big swoop, if you will. And then you can get stuff with sort of like with Wall Street bets, where it's like a monstrous online participation thing where everyone buys like physical silver and physical gold or whatnot. And even any type for that matter, over like a 1, 4, 5, 20-day period kind of deal. And then just how wild things would go. Everybody goes to their local dealers, but all the AppMex and Silver Gold Bulls and all the online places kind of get raided. And if there was some sort of thing I hear about, I might just throw it in order if I wasn't planning on doing one. If I was planning on doing one soon, I might want to consider getting it done pretty quick. If I knew information of something like that. Let's move on next to Theta. And it's a coin at around 3 1/3. So it's at all-time highs today. Long sideways consolidation. Has it broke resistance by that much? Barely, and definitely a noticeable leg, but two noticeable legs, because on the short term it hit like 304, 306, and then now it's like, well, 330. So not much, but something. And we had this support level with higher low 1. Well, this was higher low from way down here. Technically it was a lower low from this one, but higher low here on February the 1st, higher low on February the 7th. I don't even count this as a higher, I mean, kind of is a higher low, but it's breakout low, February the 10th. And it's just been having a fantastic move. 4-hour term time frame showing all this strength, pretty much at and a little bit above or amongst the 18 average of highs, but most certainly at a previous level of resistance. Breaks out above it on the 19 stamp on yesterday's session. Some nice couple volatile periods in here. Breakout session the previous period. 1 hour 47 minutes to go, which is past the halfway point, and it's just a holding in there for this one on the previous gain, which is fantastic. So this is that holding in there a little bit. Nice little correctionary price move here, 6 o'clock in the morning today. And we've seen the price go from 3 and up to so far the intraday high at around 3 4/9 or 345. So it's an intra move of like 15%, which is nothing too majorly fantastic, but it's pretty good. Short term, we're seeing this support come at this level of resistance, but this is a coin that has the potential to go to some fantastically large price points that are just mind-boggling. So I think one of the best suggestions that I can make in portfolio management, and whether you're holding none or a little Theta and you're in whatever this coin that's kicking ass, Dogecoin, holy crap, you're getting some amazing gains, is that look at where you plan to be as far as, okay, if markets go like this, I have this much here. If you're into diversification, like I say, that's just the only reason why I'm buying a little bit of silver, is just because I'm probably making a mistake by not doing so. An aggressive play would be not buying any or buying very little. So I'm going to do the buying very little point of view on it. And then as prices of cryptos have significant gains, which I expect to overperform that of silver, then I'll make much larger buys. And I realized that as a little problem when I went to the mailbox this last week, because I bought 40 ounces of silver. And the problem is that when I picked it up, it was extremely easy to pick up. Given 40 ounces is, trying to figure weights and pounds in my head right now. Well, 1 kilo is 31 ounces, 32 ounces, so we're talking about like 1.3 kilos. A little over 2.5 pounds. Like 2.6, 2.7 pounds. That's not that much to pick up. That's easy. So I want a little problem. I want a little situational problem here. I'll figure out if I get my weight in silver, which would be an extremely expensive purchase. But if cryptos do some amazing things, then would that be necessarily out of line? And if it isn't out of line, how could it mathematically be possible? And then I know I come from an accounting background, computer programming, so I can do all those things to get answers for myself. But if you're able to do stuff like that, that can go help out a long ways, I would think. Okay, and let's finish this off with Tezos. And I suppose I should be deleting these lines now, because what they represent or represented key Fibonacci. I don't even know if remember from this high or this high. Probably this high. Either way, this is a clear break of resistance. And if there's going to be, and if this is the top now, the Fibonacci I'm going to be caring about is going to be from this low to this high. This low, and this is around Christmas time. That's not that long ago. That's less than 2 months ago. $1.60. Now at over 5.25. Better than 3x. So it's just get rid of these lines. Don't need them. So $1.60 to whatever the highs happen to be currently, and at $5.48. So I could calculate it just for something to do. I don't expect it to obviously occur. And if you were to do this, you'd be calculating this over and over and over. I'll do 540 divided by 160, then 560 divided by 160, then 580 divided by 160, 620, and so on, divided by 160, to the root of the key numbers. And the key numbers are 0.382 and the numbers you see on the left. So on the way down, I'd be looking at $4.10, followed by 342 if this is the top. It doesn't look like any signs of it here on the, in fact, no signs of it on the daily. In fact, hourly time frame, I'm like, it's a buy, doesn't it? I mean, that's what it looks like. The first thing I see as I look at it. Nice top here. How's it react to the top 10? Well, a little bit of sideways correction amongst microscopic volatility. And then on good volatility, it has a nice down move, making 2 lower lows. And then amongst keeping good volatility, since then, no sign of volatility ending. It has managed to make it to, well, here it made the 18 average of lows, and then it retraced down to barely make a lower low. Almost that 3 little bear thing. That's totally looking like a failed breakdown now. I mean, that's not much of a low. It should be about more than that. So I could noticeably see it's lower, but come on. Should have been lower. Also, maybe we could hit the resistance here and go lower. Maybe, didn't know. No. Because it didn't resist the 18 lows, nor did it resist the 18 highs. Got above it. It's very nice hold and supporting it at the 11-hour stamp. And then at noon, breaking out, and right now it's 1:17 p.m. So to me, things look to me really, really good. And the potential for some spectacular gains. So calculating Fibonacci upside. I like to do high, and this is what's going to confuse me. Which high do I use? I kind of think I have to use the first one. So technically, I mean, the next number would just be microscopically a bit higher. So what's the difference? High divided by whatever the 61.8% down correction is, which is about 130 something, to the exponent of 1.618, multiply that same level around 160 or maybe 150 or whatever, 140. And that's my answer. So that's calculated. So I'm going to start off the high. We have $3.95. So I'm going to do it all in pennies. And then I'm going to get the low in here, which is 75.1 cents. So the 38.2 number is 142. So 395 divided by 142 to the up target of 1.618 is my exponent. And then multiply that low of 142 again. I'm doing this. You can do 1.42 in your calculator because it'll give you all the decimals. I'm doing it this way because when I calculated the code for this, I did it to automatically take those decimals out, thus round the numbers. So the up target is rounded to $7.43 as what I would have to think this up target is. So you look at this. This is where you think, okay, you buy at 529 It's if you believe $7 and change, maybe piercing extra to 8 to 10 is in play, it's a good buy. But it's not as good when it's 6 or 650. So as you go up, at some point it becomes, oh, it's like right now as it was breaking resistance, maybe at 480 something, it's a buy, 490 even, and it's still a buy at 522, 529. But what number does the buy go to hold, and then what number does the hold go to sell? And you're looking at a spot of I want to bet on a market as it breaks a key level of resistance, and then I want to sell it when it hits that upside target. Again, that's something you could calculate for any chart. That's why I focus on the coins that I play. And I know there's a lot of people on here that play coins that I rarely or never cover at all. But the information that I provide can work with all of them, and you can implement this information very well, and probably knows how spectacular results can be when you go through a lot of the ideas that I talk about. And a lot of this is make my ideas your own, because you can use you can use a lot of this information and then start to kick my ass as far as how good you can be as far as doing whatever, because you take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, implement into this that you already know, or expand this to that, and then you're just the biggest genius in the world kind of deal. And there's a few geniuses out there that excite me, but yeah, just anything that can get anyone that can get just a little bit on this, if they do, that's just spectacular. One little thing that I'm looking at, if we have to do any type of little correction for now, I see a lot of this resistance between like 296 here, basically the 3 handle, up to about 3.25. So if there's going to be, and then you have this range between 386 and 442. But if there's going to be decent moves, then I'd be looking for this. But I'd be forgetting this like 3 to 320 level. If this thing has like a spectacular move to those targets, like 7, 8, 10 bucks, then I'd be looking at, okay, now I'm looking at between 3 and like 4 and change, like 3 to 4 as comeback support. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.